Hello, everyone. My name is Nigrin. I'm the Executive Director of the New Jersey Film Festival, and I'm here today to tell you about our upcoming Fall 2012 season. We have some wonderful films set up for screening on September 13th through November 2nd on select Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday evenings. We also have some wonderful promotions. We'll be giving out free food for the first 3 weeks of programming and some free posters after that. We have a competition, and in this competition we received over 200 films, of which a jury selected 21 finalists. And we have some of those finalists here today to talk about their movie. And before I introduce you to tonight's guest, I'd like to just give you a little bit more information about the festival. It will be taking place at Rutgers University. Most programs take place on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. in our new state-of-the-art facility, Voorhees Hall, room 105. And you'll get to see premiere films, some revival films, and there's actually 4 free screenings as well towards the end of the program. But today we're here to talk to director Diane Ciccone, who is the director of a wonderful documentary film called Act of Faith that tells us something about Princeton, New Jersey we never really knew about. So, Diane, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about this film.
Well, it's interesting. Back in the 1950s, as most of us know, most of the South had segregated housing, but few of us know that New Jersey was segregated as well. And in 2004, I actually met some of the residents of Glen Acres, which is one of the first planned integrated neighborhoods in the country. And it piqued my curiosity because you don't think of New Jersey, Princeton, segregated housing, you don't think of that at all. And it was really a very deliberate part on 3 churches in Princeton. They were 2 white churches and 1 black church, same denomination, but they worked separately. But they came together because they realized that African Americans could not get good housing in Princeton. They were segregated into the Witherspoon area. So they pulled their money and they went out and found a developer, Morris Milgram, who at the time had dedicated his life to doing planned integrated neighborhoods. And so they pooled their money and they found a tract of land in Princeton and a tract of land in West Windsor and developed housing. And you know, back then the whole thing was if you integrated a neighborhood, the housing prices would go down, there'd be white flight. And Morris Milgram really believed that that wouldn't happen. Yeah. So part of it was the whole philosophy behind Morris Milgram, that he was very particular of the type of people he wanted to go into this housing. He wanted educated people, he wanted young families, he wanted families that generally did not live close to their families. And within 18 months, the Princeton Housing Group built 40 houses and they returned a profit. So when I met some of the people in Glen Acres, it was an enclave of 15 houses in 2004. It was around the 50th anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. And I wrote an article. So in 2008, they were celebrating their 50th anniversary. Some of the original homeowners still live there. They said, why don't you come and help us plan this big celebration? And I said, well, you should make a film. They said, go ahead. And I said, but I don't know what I'm doing. But I knew how to interview. So I interviewed some of the original owners that still live there. I owned owners that had moved away. I interviewed adult children. I interviewed people that were part of the whole planning of it. And the thing that really struck me about the whole process of me interviewing them is how it's something that we could use today. They all said that they didn't think about it. They didn't think of themselves as heroes. They didn't think of themselves of doing anything.
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. They said, you know, we just lived our lives and we treated each other like everyone else.
I mean, but how did you stumbled upon this project, or there was interest beforehand? I mean, some of this archival footage is so unbelievable. How did you track that down?
Well, I stumbled on them. I mean, there'd been really nothing. Around the time when these housing developments developed, they had an article, I think, in the New York Times and Time magazine. But then for 50 years, almost nothing. Glen Acres, they had a 40th anniversary. There was some coverage locally, but really nothing. So the archival footage exists. You've got to dig for it. And then the residents gave me photographs of when their children were growing up.
And this project as we saw it, as I was on the jury that saw your film, and we loved it. We wanted it to keep on going. I felt as if, you know, it's about 20 minutes or so.
Yes.
Is there any hopes to maybe expand the project?
Well, you know, as a filmmaker, and I'm not a filmmaker,
Sure you are.
the problem is funding. So what happened, just to backtrack, you saw the second film. I actually did another film before that, and that was a little longer, 28 minutes, but because I didn't know what I was doing, I used the wrong camera, I had an internal mic, the audio wasn't that good, so the film that you saw was really my attempt to really kind of clean up some of the technical issues.
It doesn't feel like that at all. I mean, I think it's very professionally done. It felt as if something that you would see on a PBS station.
Yes.
You know? And I think that it moves and it flows very nicely. The intermingling of the interviews with the archival footage is compelling. I mean, we really love the film.
Thank you.
So, and it was something that we really didn't know anything about. So I must say that, folks, if you want to see this great documentary, it's part of a double bill that we'll be doing on Saturday, September 29th at Voorhees Hall in room 105 at Rutgers University, our new state-of-the-art facility, high-definition projection system. It's going to be the opening film. The second film, we have another guest here who will do an interview another day. His film is about pick-up basketball in urban centers. So it has a kind of crossover with your film, although they're obviously quite different in terms of subject matter and time period. But as a curator, my job is to bring these things together, and it was a pleasure to have your film open up this program. So folks, if you want to see this wonderful film, Diane will be there to take questions afterward and introduce the film. It will be on Saturday, September 29th at 7 p.m. in Voorhees Hall, room 105. General admission is $10. If you need further information, go to our website, which is www.njfilmfest.com, or you can call us at 848, that's our new area code, 848-932-8482. Thanks so much for coming and telling us about your film.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Diane.